Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Saturday, July 16th, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. Now, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Of course, I'm always running my $15 MLB best bet, so you can check that out at Pick Dawgz Premium. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Saturday, July 16th. First up, we see the Chicago White Sox taking on the Minnesota Twins. We're going to see Lance Lynn and Dylan Bundy as the starters in this one. Now, these are two starting pitchers that are very, very tough to read, in my opinion. This is why this game and a couple on this Saturday card are not my favorites in terms of betting. I think this should be a pretty entertaining game overall, but when you look at Lance Lynn, in his last 9 innings, he's given up 15 base hits, 13 earned runs, a home run, 4 walks in that stretch, and he gave up 5 earned against this Minnesota Twins lineup back on July the 6th. Now, the White Sox were able to come back and win that game in extra innings, but I just can't trust Lance Lynn in his current form. I do believe as the season continues and into the second half of the year, Lynn will be a sharp member of this White Sox rotation, but until I see some promising signs, I just can't back him here. When you look at how well the Twins have done against right-handed pitching, now, Dylan Bundy's not my favorite starter to back, and this Minnesota Twins bullpen is one of the worst in the American League right now, but I still think the Twins bats do enough damage on Lynn to get the win at home here. Should be an entertaining game, not my favorite game on the board, but I'm going to take the Minnesota Twins here on the money line. Next up, we see the Cincinnati Reds taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. We're going to see Nick Lodolo and Miles Mikolas as the starters for this one. Now, I do believe Miles Mikolas is the better starting pitcher here, but I will say certain things in Nick Lodolo's game have really impressed me. The ability to get strikeouts, 33 Ks in 24 1/3 innings this season. And I still think there's some developing to do at the major league level, but the last 3 games that Nick Lodolo has pitched in, the Reds have won all 3 of those outright. The only issue I have here with Cincinnati is the bullpen. I do believe it's one of the weaker bullpens in baseball. When you look at projected WAR, the Reds are ranked 29th in their bullpen, so I just don't really trust them to go a full 9 innings of strong pitching against the Cardinals lineup that's been very good against lefties and righties in the last 30 days overall. Miles Mikolas was sharp last time on the mound against the Philadelphia Phillies. He went into the 8th inning in that game in a nice Cardinals victory there. I think Mikolas is good enough here. I'm going to take the St. Louis Cardinals on the money line. Next up, we see the New York Mets taking on the Chicago Cubs. This is going to be a doubleheader on Saturday, as we saw the game on Friday get postponed due to weather. Now, Game 1 at 2:20 Eastern start time, Taijuan Walker and Marcus Stroman are the projected starters. Game 2 at 8:05 Eastern, we're going to see Max Scherzer and Drew Smyly. Now, just like any other doubleheader you're going to see this season, the information pitching-wise is definitely subject to change, and therefore the odds are subject to change. We've seen a lot of times managers move starters to Game 1 or Game 2 or scratch them all together. So just make sure you're always staying up to date with this information. But if these are the starting pitching matchups, I do like the under in Game 1. I know Taijuan Walker is pitching really well in the first half of the season, just like he did last year with the Mets. He's 7-2 with a 2.63 ERA. We're starting to see the strikeout numbers rise for him as well in his last couple outings. His last 13 innings striking out 16 batters. So really impressive to see from Taijuan Walker. On the other side, we see Marcus Stroman. I believe he's one of the top competitors in the league in terms of starting pitchers. This guy is going to be facing his former club in the New York Mets, and I do believe he's going to try to put on a show here at home. You know, he has had some struggles in 2022, but last time out, very strong outing, 4 innings against the Dodgers of no-run baseball. Had 3 strikeouts to go with it, even though he's a pitch-to-contact guy. I think he has a solid outing here, and I think overall this is going to be a pretty low-scoring game. So give me the under in Game 1, but in Game 2, I am going to take the New York Mets on the run line. Just think Max Scherzer is in great form right now for the Mets, and facing Drew Smyly, I think the Mets, even though they haven't been the best against lefties this season, I think they do plenty enough on Smyly and this Cubs bullpen to get the win and get the run line cover. When you look at Mad Max's last 4 outings against the Mariners, Cardinals, Reds, and Braves, he's given up 1 earned run or fewer in all 4 of those matchups. Give me the Mets and Mad Max in Game 2. So that's an under in Game 1 and the Mets on the run line in Game 2. In our next matchup, we see the Kansas City Royals taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, we don't have an official lineup for this game quite yet, as the Blue Jays have not announced a starter. We should see Daniel Lynch going for the Royals. Now, we saw Kansas City earn the outright victory in Game 1 of this series, even though the Blue Jays were minus 300. I saw minus 350 in some spots on the money line, and we could expect a similar price in this one because the Kansas City Royals are missing a good amount of players due to the trip to Canada with the unvaccinated players. We see guys like Andrew Benintendi, Whit Merrifield, Hunter Dozier, just to name a few that are out of the lineup, and Dylan Coleman out of the bullpen. So, the Royals are shorthanded, but that didn't hurt them in Game 1. We saw some unfamiliar faces do some big things in that first game, and I think in this game, Daniel Lynch being a left-handed starter, we've seen the Blue Jays struggle against lefties as of late. That is for sure. When it comes to the team OPS department, the Blue Jays have been in the bottom 10 in the league in the last 30 days against those lefties. So I think the Royals can keep this game rather close. We don't even have to take them on the money line or even the standard plus 1.5. I'm guessing the price is going to be pretty steep in the Blue Jays' favor, so I'm just going to take the plus 2.5 here with Kansas City. I think they keep this game close with a one-run game or maybe even a two-run game, but getting 2.5 runs I think is the way to go here. So give me KC plus 2.5. Next up, we see the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Colorado Rockies with Mitch Keller and Jose Urena on the mound. Now, Jose Urena's got a sub-3 ERA for now, but I don't think that's going to last much longer. When you look at his expected numbers, a 6.03 expected ERA and a 5.7 expected FIP. When you look at his last outing against the Padres, he only gave up 2 earned runs in 6 innings, but gave up 7 base hits and 3 walks, so 10 total base runners. Only had 3 strikeouts to show for it and gave up a home run as well. I do believe the regression is in store for Urena. But on the other side, Mitch Keller is not a guy I want to back here. This is going to be his first career start at Coors Field. We know young pitchers at Coors Field doesn't always result in the best for pitchers and for unders. I'm going to take the over here. I think both pitchers are susceptible to be getting hit in this game pretty hard. When you look at Mitch Keller's game, last time out he was good against the Marlins, but we just seen so many inconsistencies. We saw the previous start against the Yankees where he went 6 innings, giving up 10 hits, 4 earned, and 2 home runs. At a hitter-friendly ballpark, if your barrel percentage is below average like Mitch Keller's is, it's just really tough to have any good result. The Rockies lineup is pretty experienced at Coors Field this season, playing their home games there, and they've got a winning record at home. We usually see that from Colorado. They play very well at home. They don't really get much going on the road, but I think the offense does plenty in this game for Colorado. Don't really trust either of these bullpens to begin with, so I think we see scoring from start to finish of this one. Give me the over in the Pirates-Rockies. Next up, we see the Atlanta Braves taking on the Washington Nationals. Max Fried and Paulo Espino are your starters. Now, Max Fried, I will say, his last few outings haven't been the sharpest, but I do believe he's still the much better option in this particular matchup. I trust the Braves lineup and bullpen a lot more here as well. If you look at Paulo Espino, he's a guy that is starting to regress quite a bit. We saw his ERA below 3, now above 3 at 3.42. Giving up 6 earned runs in his last 7 2/3 innings. He's not a guy that's going to pitch too deep into ball games, and I don't trust this Nationals bullpen to get the job done in the late innings. They're right now ranked 30th in the league, the Nationals bullpen is in projected WAR. So I like the Braves bats to get to Espino and the bullpen here. I think they do enough to get the win and run line cover for Max Fried. So give me the Braves on the run line, laying the 1.5 runs. The Seattle Mariners are one of the hottest teams in baseball, and they take on the Texas Rangers on the road. A 4:05 Eastern start time with Logan Gilbert and Spencer Howard as the starters. Now, Logan Gilbert's starting to get hit pretty hard. When you look at his last 4 outings, 6 home runs combined allowed. The strikeout numbers are down a little bit in those outings as well. The base hits are up. So I do believe the Rangers can compete offensively, but I wouldn't want to back Spencer Howard or this Rangers bullpen whatsoever. We know the Mariners, one of the hotter teams, and one of the hotter lineups in baseball. Spencer Howard, he has 15 strikeouts in 15 2/3 innings. However, only 3 strikeouts in his last 9 innings of work against the Orioles and Athletics combined. In that stretch, giving up 12 base hits, 5 earned runs, a homer as well. He's not really known to be a pitch-to-contact guy, and if he's not getting those strikeouts to help him out, I really think he's in trouble. You look at the Rangers, their bullpen has really struggled recently, and they're ranked 26th in projected WAR right now. So I like the Seattle Mariners team total over, and I like the full game over in this matchup as well. Next up, we see the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Dean Kremer going for the Orioles. We don't have an official starter for the Rays quite yet. Now, when you look at Dean Kremer's game, he's been sharp on the mound, 2.15 ERA, but I do worry about regression going forward. 30 strikeouts in 37 2/3 innings is a little bit lower than I would like to see. And when you look at his home run to fly ball percentage or ratio, it's at 3.9%, which is unsustainably low, one of the lowest totals in baseball right now. And it would be one thing if Kremer was just a guy that keeps the ball on the ground, he's a pitch to contact guy. But when you look at his numbers in the Baseball Savant page, bottom 20th percentile in expected ERA, bottom 17th percentile in barrel percentage, which is a big indicator of home runs, and bottom 23rd percentile in hard hit percentage. So with being well below average in barrel percentage and hard hit percentage, you got to believe the home run ball is going to start to hurt Kremer in the future. Tampa Bay Rays haven't been the strongest lineup on paper or in terms of isolated power, but I do believe they do enough here against Kremer to get the win at home. Give me the Tampa Bay Rays here on the money line. In our next matchup, we see the Detroit Tigers taking on the Cleveland Guardians with Michael Pineda and Cal Quantrill on the mound. Now, Cal Quantrill is starting to regress. That is certainly the case. When you look at his ERA, it's still below 4, but just look at his last 5 outings. 4 earned runs to the White Sox, 3 earned in only 4 innings against these Detroit Tigers. 6 total runs allowed in that game, by the way. 3 earned against the Twins, 2 earned against the Red Sox, not bad, but 5 earned against the Dodgers. So he's given up at least 2 earned runs, but mostly 3 and 4 and 5 in his last 5 outings, not pitching too deep in those ball games, giving up at least 1 home run in each of those 5. Strikeout numbers are way down. The walks are going up for him a little bit as well. So I do think the Detroit Tigers, a team that's already had success against Quantrill only about a week ago, on July 5th, so about 10 days ago, 4 innings, 8 hits, 6 total runs scored. I think they get to Quantrill here, but I like the Guardians lineup against Michael Pineda as well. You look at Pineda, he's more of a pitch-to-contact guy these days, but I don't really trust his game. His last 10 1/3 innings, giving up 12 hits, 4 earned, 2 home runs, only 4 strikeouts in that stretch. I think the Cleveland Guardians can compete offensively here. I see a high-scoring game, at least in the first 5 innings. We've seen both of these bullpens been pretty good this year. It's why the Guardians do have a solid record overall. So I'm going to take the first 5 over this game. I don't want to take the full game over. Just give me the first 5 innings over. In our next matchup, we see the Oakland Athletics taking on the Houston Astros. Now, this is a pretty lopsided pitching matchup here, and really there's no option for me to go with this game other than taking the run line. You look at Justin Verlander this season, 11-3 with a 2.00 ERA, a big comeback year for him thus far. Last time out against the Royals, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts, and a 5-2 Astros win. In his last 5 starts, Verlander, the Astros have won 4 of those 5 and have covered the run line in all 4 of those wins as well. I think they get another run line cover here. Give me Houston on the run line, laying the 1.5 runs. Next up, we see the Miami Marlins hosting the Philadelphia Phillies. No official starter here for the Phillies. Trevor Rogers going for the Marlins. Now, when you look at Trevor Rogers, in his last 5 outings, he's faced 5 lineups that are below average in team OPS against left-handed pitching. And the Mets twice, the Nationals, the Angels, and the Pirates. And he hasn't really had the best numbers against those teams. He's given up at least 3 earned runs in 3 of those 5 matchups. The walks are starting to pile up for him as well. The base hits have been a problem also. Just hasn't been a very good 2022 season. And Rogers has really struggled at Lone Depot Park, which is kind of surprising as Lone Depot Park is a pitcher-friendly ballpark. But at home, 2-5 with a 7.27 ERA. Just hasn't been good at Miami. I think he struggles yet again here. When you look at the Phillies, they've been above average against lefties in team OPS and isolated power recently and on the season overall. Give me the Philadelphia Phillies here on the money line. Next up, we see the biggest rivalry in sports, the Boston Red Sox taking on the New York Yankees. A rematch of the Sunday Night Baseball contest with the same pitching matchup of Nick Pivetta and Jameson Taillon. And if we know anything from that Sunday Night Baseball game, we saw a lot of home runs and a lot of runs overall. An 11-6 final score where the Yankees had a 6-2 lead early on. They got to Nick Pivetta, 3 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned, 2 homers. But they blew the game in the end. Jameson Taillon really struggled down the stretch. The bullpen for the Yankees really struggled, and that's been the case for this Yankees team recently. They struggled in that Red Series, and it wasn't necessarily because of their lineup not getting things done. They've given up a lot of runs recently, and Jameson Taillon has not been very sharp on the mound. We saw last time out giving up 3 homers, 7 hits, 6 earned to this Red Sox lineup. He's given up 11 earned runs in his last 10 1/3 innings pitched with 5 home runs combined in that stretch. I got to take the over in this game yet again. The Yankees bullpen is struggling from top to bottom. Jameson Taillon is struggling, but the Yankees bats have still been there. I think we see another high-scoring game here. Next up, we see the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the San Francisco Giants. Now, Alex Cobb and Eric Lauer are your starters here. Now, Alex Cobb has a 4.57 ERA, which is not great, but it doesn't look like the books are ready to give up on him. The advanced analytics nerds like myself are not ready to give up on him either. When you look at his xFIP, when you look at his expected ERA, below 3 right now, so much sharper numbers in the advanced analytics side of things, and I do believe we're going to start seeing some better results from Cobb. He's a guy that keeps the ball on the ground mostly, doesn't have too many issues with the walks, although he did have 4 allowed last time out. But he's a guy that can miss some bats. And overall, I do believe he's been one of the unluckier pitchers in the league. His BABIP is very, very high right now. I think we're going to start to see better results, and the books do believe so as well, as the Giants are pretty sizable favorites here. I was surprised to see this money line price where it is. But you look at the Giants, they've been very, very good against left-handed pitching in the last 30 days, really overall this season. Their power numbers have gone up against lefties in the last 30 days as well. Eric Lauer is a power pitcher that's a guy that can get some strikeouts, and I do believe the Giants will probably strike out quite a few times here, but he's also susceptible to the home run ball, giving up a homer in 4 of his last 5 and 7 total in that stretch as well. I do believe the Giants find a few long balls in this spot. They've been one of the top 10 teams in team OPS and isolated power against lefties in the last month. So I like their chances against Lauer. I think Cobb keeps the Brewers' bats down. I like the Giants to get a win here at home. Sean Manaea and the San Diego Padres host Tyler Gilbert and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, Tyler Gilbert's coming off one of his best starts, probably his best start of the year, last time out against the Rockies, where he went 5 2/3 innings, giving up no earned runs. Now, he only had 1 strikeout in that outing. That does concern me quite a bit. When you look at his expected ERA, it's above 8 right now, so his real ERA is at 5.33. The expected ERA suggests that there may even be more room for regression in his game. Now, I'm not sure how much there is, but I do believe that Sean Manaea is still the better starter. I believe the Padres have the much better bullpen and the better lineup as well. So I do trust Manaea and the Padres to get to Gilbert here and to win this game going away. I'm going to take the San Diego Padres and lay the 1.5 runs. Next up, our final game of the night, we see the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Los Angeles Angels. Another pair of lefties going at it here in Julio Urias and Jose Suarez. Now, Urias had his worst start of the season last time out, and the Dodgers still won the game and covered the run line in the end, 11-9. 2 innings, 5 earned runs from Urias in that one. I think he bounces back here. He's facing an Angels lineup that has just really struggled against lefties in the last 30 days, where they're ranked 30th in isolated power. They're ranked 29th in team OPS, and they have the highest team strikeout rate, actually the second highest, behind the Pittsburgh Pirates, 26.5%. I don't think they do much of anything offensively here. The Dodgers haven't been as good offensively against lefties as they've been against righties. Jose Suarez has been inconsistent. Last time out was not his best outing, but I haven't necessarily been unimpressed with his game. We've seen him earn some strikeouts this season. He limits the home run ball pretty well, so I think he'll pitch okay in this outing. I don't think he's going to be able to completely hold this Dodgers lineup down, but I think he'll keep this game close enough early on. I think the Dodgers add a few runs late to cover this run line and earn their 6th straight run line cover with Urias on the mound. The last 5 starts that he's had, the Dodgers have covered the run line. I like the Dodgers to win this game by 2+ and the under in this one as well. And that's it. Those are the games for Saturday, July 16th. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.